And we continue on with the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty Boise. Don't forget, if you've missed any of the shows, you can go to chrislofthus.com. That's CHRISLOFTHUS.com. And again, we'll give Jeff Hadfield one more plug on the air from Perfect Memories. He'll put some of the shots up from today. Chris's show, like we said, growing and growing. Next week, who do we have on the show?
We have Burton Freeze coming on the show next week from Burton Freeze Remodeling. Wanted to bring something up. These guys, Van and Air, are still here from Concierge Legacy, and I wanted to bring up the fact that, at the break we were discussing, we're not here to doom and gloom and talk about how horrible things are going to be. I think it's more of an education. Aaron, wouldn't you say is what you guys kind of do is more of educating people and kind of protecting what's going to happen here in the near future? Yeah,
exactly. I think what we really want to communicate to people is that there are things that can affect everybody from middle class Americans to even lower end to the higher end, and absolutely we're here to educate people. We're not here to scare people, because the media does a great job on their own for doing that. We don't need help with that. So.
Right. Well, and the thing about it, I think, and Van and I were discussing at the break here too, that the true effect it has, so you talk about all this new construction. We talk about how Boise's just booming and we're all over the radar with everybody from Money Magazine to Forbes to Brookings, whatever, right? And you look at all this new construction, big houses opened up and they're pumping away. I mean, that thing's going to have a ton of shops in there, but how does this have an effect on Boise? So you just talk about your taxes and national or whatever, but what's the effect, Van? So my thing, you and I discussed, what is the effect of, people will stop spending so much money at big owls or whatever, and so you look at this the downtrodden effect of what's going on in corporate America.
Well, I don't think that's. I mean, we're very fortunate to be living in this valley,
right?
I mean, when it comes to real estate and all that, people will have the desire to live here. The concern I would say that could have possibly affect is really job development. Corporations want to invest in their company. Mm-hmm. They want to have long-term strategies in order to do that, and I think it doesn't help when we don't have long-term strategies in our taxes. So that may affect us. The consumers, for the most part, I think are going to still want to move here, still want to live here, and we bring a great quality of life. And, to be honest with you, Idaho's not, it's pretty favorable. I mean, thank God we don't run in a red like California does, for example.
Right.
California's looking at some serious state income tax.
14%, yeah.
Yeah, we don't look at that here in Idaho. I mean, obviously it comes up, but we're not running in the red. We can't. So that brings Idaho, again, a great value to want to live here. Knowing that you're, and the other thing, too, that's great about Idaho is the PERSI that Idaho is, the government, the state government employees pension plan, is one of the best funded plans in the country. I can tell you nightmare stories on this. There's going to be some gut-wrenching decisions made on some of these future retirees and state retirees. There's no money to pay for some of that commitment they've made. So that's just going to bring more and more value to Idaho, to be quite honest with you, because people are going to have to look at that. When it comes to retirement age, quality of life, all those types of things, what's my income taxes in those states?
Right. Well,
my federal is going to be set. Now, What's my income? What's all the other taxes I got to deal with? And Idaho is in a great position to take advantage of that because of the fact we don't have so much debt on the books.
Right. Well, and the other thing, Dave, we were discussing when you and I talk about this week in and week out, but you talk about how I always everyone thinks I'm too optimistic, but it is what it is. But the way I look at it is the ball never stops rolling. So you look at the Sensies of the world or bodybuilding.coms, they're growing. They're looking. In different areas, they're looking. I know I have a friend of mine that works over bodybuilding.com, and they're looking for people all the time out of state to bring people in. Kevin Miller and I talked last week. Kevin does that deal. What's it called? It's putting
Idahoans back to work.
Yeah, putting Idahoans back to work. And Kevin's got a really interesting take on it as well, because when you think about it, and Aaron, you can touch a little bit on this. These businesses are being affected by the. By this fiscal cliff or whatever is going to happen here in the election year, and on and on. But overall, in my opinion, the ball's just going to keep rolling, and we're going to continue to grow and continue to change.
Absolutely. I think the thing to take away from this is, as Van talked about with you earlier, the things that could create ripple effects to the economy is. A lot of accelerated depreciations for corporations are going to go away potentially, and all those things. But that aside, there's always going to be something that's going to be coming at us from next year Obamacare? Is that, so we always absolutely have to keep positive, and you really have to figure out how you're going to survive in this environment. And that's where we do have a job, to be quite frank. It's not about, ooh, what did my investment account do? The world for the individual today is so complex. And so we really believe that that's where, to tie this back into what do we do for people, is bring it all together on understanding how to protect their assets, how to grow their assets, what are the tax planning or strategies that they need to employ, sitting down with an attorney, or making the right real estate decision. Because buying and selling real estate, as we know, is usually the individual's biggest transaction. But what do you need to be doing to make sure you make the most of that decision and not make a bad decision or own it improperly in the wrong entity? So I just think that you're absolutely right. The ball's always going to be rolling, and you got to keep your head above water and be positive. And it's not being Pollyanna. It's being, matter of fact, that last time I checked, world's not coming to an end tomorrow. But if it does, it only happens once. So if it is, it's all good. Last time I checked,
great.
It only happens once. So if you're planning for that, I wish you the best.
Yeah, I think you touched a point there, like in my world of real estate, and kind of my frustration. We talk about doing the show, Dave, wake up. And so we talk about doing the show, and we talk about the vendors on my website. So if you go to my website, chrislofthus.com, you'll see the list of vendors, and Van and Aaron, Concierge Legacy is on there. But for the most part, we talk about, like Aaron touched base on, real estate in general, or an investment decision. And that's why I bring these guys on the show. It's like dealing with me. I know what we do for a living. I know what what Annette brings to the table, and what we bring as a Chris Lofthus group to real estate. As when somebody's making their biggest decision in their life on an investment, which is their real estate investment, we're there to give advice. We're there to give just to make them feel comfortable and give them all the right advice.
You're listening to Van Carlson and Aaron Seehawer of Concierge Legacy. It's on the Real Estate Radio Show featuring Chris Lofthus. Van, you guys have always been really good about information, getting good information out. How can we learn more? How can we get more good information about this fiscal cliff? Like I said, I've heard of it. Now today I've got a whole new perspective, but if I want to read more or get more information, how do I go about that?
Well, we actually put together a white paper. We try to do those every quarter, and our last white paper that went out actually the month of July focused on the fiscal cliff, and we've actually got that saved in a PDF, and we actually have several in print. But clients or potential clients or anybody listening is more than welcome to go to our website, conciergelegacy.com, request it, and we're more than happy to send that to them via the email. There's a lot of good information in there. It does talk about the pros and the cons and some of the strategies they can employ going forward, regardless of how it shakes out. Tax efficiencies are going to become very apparent and very important for every economic status there is in this country. So more than happy to provide that to anybody that's requesting it, and they just need to go to our website and ask for that request, and we'll definitely get it to them.
Now, I get your newsletter. I think it comes out every week or every other week. And I just figured, because I know you two and our relationship and stuff, how does somebody, if they say, hey, get me on that list too, what do they need to do?
Just go to our website, conciergelegacy.com, request to be put on our weekly newsletter, and we certainly will add them to the newsletter.
And can we get an update on your building, since Burton Freeze is going to be on next week? We either give him a hard time or tell him he's a great guy.
No, Burton's great. In fact, you know what? We're going to be. I think he's going to be meeting with the other person that owns the other condo next to us, and I think they're both going to be built out at the same time. So, Burton's great. We just met with him. We just made some changes.
Yeah.
So we actually increased our footprint down there a little bit, which is good for Aaron and I and long-term investment. We're excited about being downtown. We just got pictures of our signs on the buildings yesterday, and it looks like we're in business when you look at the picture.
Wow.
And so we're excited. The sign's going to look great, and we're going to love being downtown, and a lot of stuff's happening downtown, and it's going to be a great fit for us, and we're excited. We hope to be in first part of December. no pressure burden, but we really need to get in
Oh,
there
we'll
for-
put some heat on him. Trust me, next week.
We want to have a Christmas party, so that's what
Well, Van and Aaron, congratulations on that. I mean, that's I think people look at that when they're trying to select somebody that can assist and consult them, as you two do, and they say, well, what facility are they in? Are they working out of the back of their car? Or, well, you guys have your roots down and you're building this in downtown, so we're excited for you guys on that. We'll talk more with the folks at Concierge Legacy. And Chris, one thing I keep getting a lot of folks as I shift the pendulum now from that side over to the real estate side, more and more people want to know, hey, have Chris talk about that secret list. So if we come back the next segment where you kind of explain how that works, and I think the biggest part is you're the only one with it. So they want to know, how do they get on it? How do they find it? How does that happen?
Yeah, and just a list that we've created. Now that the inventory levels are so low, and we still have a lot of people that want to sell their houses, don't want to deal with the pitfalls of showing the house, and we can discuss it in the fourth segment.
All right, we'll continue on. Don't forget, it's conciergelegacy.com. You can call the guys at 275-8875. That's 275-8875. And it's Van at conciergelegacy.com. That's VAN, or Aaron at Concierge Legacy, and that's AARON. Tell them you want to get a copy. I'm going to actually steal one of those Fiscal Cliff pieces from you. My uncle's a U.S. Senator. I'm going to send it to him and see if that helps out. Don't know if it will or not. And then, of course, the great newsletter you guys send out, very helpful each week. So we'll take a time out. Be back with more right after this.